believe how full of energy this room is, considering you all partied till whatever time, and probably maybe one or two of you drank a little bit more than normal. Only in Forever Living could we have this spirit on a Sunday morning, right? Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Okay, well done to everybody who won a medal. Whether you came first or absolutely last, the very last, well done to all of you. We're getting now into work mode if we can. I would like to speak with you this morning about building a global business. How many people in the room are interested in that? Good, so I'm speaking to the right audience then. And I think the best thing I can do is maybe share some of our experiences over the last 19 years, and maybe how we go about building a global business, and then maybe share some of the results you can expect if you implement and perfect and master, that's the key, master the art of building globally. Do I have to press this little green button? Pressing? Okay. First slide, please. I think it's fair to say, I think you'll all agree with me, that there are plenty of people on this planet. With a population now of over 7.2 billion and growing, none of us, absolutely none of us, need fear the fact that we will never have enough people to speak to. Never. But I've heard it said on many occasions, I don't know anybody, I don't know where to go looking. People automatically have a blank on their ability to go out and communicate with others. And that's a key word. Maybe you ought to write that down. Communicate with others. There are some key words that I'm going to pull out today which I think are absolutely fundamental to being successful in building a global team. Forever Living are in 150 countries around the world. There's no limit to where you can take yourself. Personally, I see opportunity everywhere. Do you? Absolutely everywhere. One of the things that you must consider when building a global business is you work locally, but you think globally. What do I mean by that? Well, all of the core qualifications for incentives depend on you having a good, solid local business. So the one thing I don't want to do in sharing some ideas with you is take you away from your home country. Your home country is fundamental to your security. It's fundamental to you achieving chairman's bonus. But what I do want to do is open your minds to the possibilities that are open to you all around the world. But if you can't master working locally, you'll never be able to build globally. Because it's what you learn and develop on home soil that will springboard you around the world. So don't make the mistake of getting onto an aeroplane and flying by 10 million people to get to one person who says, yeah, I think I'll give it a go. You do not do that. This is all about having a strategy, having a focus, and understanding how the global opportunity layers your home opportunity. If you think about that, 7.2 billion people on the planet, you only need 25 of them to go managers to be diamond. It's interesting, isn't it? We all look at diamond in isolation and think, oh my goodness, 25 managers, it's going to be really hard, I'll never get there. Can I, will I? We have that doubt. But if you put it in context with the global population, it's just 25 people. Now, what if you had to sponsor 100 to find 25 managers? What if you had to sponsor 200, 300, 400, 500, 1,000, 2,000 to find 25? Would it be worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it needs to be part of your strategy. One of the things that John and I were committed to when we joined Forever was having a long-term plan. It was never hit and miss. We always had a plan that incorporated the global opportunity. Even on day one, when 19 years ago, the global opportunity was much smaller than it is today. But we always had a plan. So today, it might be a good idea to start thinking and formulating your plan for building a global business. Start getting curious and interested how you can make that work for you. Is this little clicker not working? Or am I just not pointing it? Next slide, please. Okay, let's have a look at the 2 ways of building a global business. First of all, you can build a global business by working with your team members. And you can build a global business by proactively going out and looking for people yourself. So there are 2 very distinct parts of building globally, and equally as exciting as each other. One of the things I want to maybe advise you is that building a global business may take some time. You know, because you don't have people on the doorstep with you, sometimes it's you have to kiss a few more frogs to find the prince. Okay? But it may take a little bit more time. But when you find the right person, the one thing that I've noticed is because you are working at a distance, you get a lot more done with that person than if you're working locally. When we're working locally with somebody, we tend to give a lot of time very freely without actually thinking of the consequences of not being more time efficient. One of the things I'm going to do now is I'm going to break it down into, first of all, working with your new team members and looking at how you can develop a global business by working with new team members. Now, at the first planning meeting, one of the very first objectives that I have is that when we're doing a planning meeting and we get to the part in the planning process where we are looking for people to develop their who do you know list, I very, very specifically ask for a UK list and a global list. Very, very specifically ask for that. And if you look in your planning manual, when you look at the memory jogger, you will actually see in the memory jogger part in the reference section at the back that it very clearly states who do you know in UK, Europe, Asia, Africa, North and South America. But the one thing that I've learned over the years is don't just expect someone to do a list by giving them the manual or giving them their sheets to fill in and expect them to know how to do it. The one thing that I always do is I will show them what I expect of them. When I'm working with a brand new distributor, I will show them what I expect of them. And the easiest way to get them to understand how the lists work is to show them yours. And if you're not showing them yours, then what you're doing is telling them. And if you're just telling someone to do it, they don't get it. I learned a long time ago that you get more productivity when you show somebody than you do if you just tell somebody. And I always think about how I receive information, and I'm a pretty quick learner, but I'm even more effective if someone will show me once or twice how to do something. If I've just got to read a manual, i.e. the planning manual, or someone's just telling me what to do, doesn't quite sink in so well. So whenever I'm doing anything, I always think, how would I receive that information? So working your local list is pretty much the same as you would do anyway whatsoever. But working the global list obviously requires a little bit more input from you. A little bit more input as to who they might know, who their family might know in other countries, which part of the world they might know those people in. And the one thing you're doing is you're going to get excited about their contacts abroad. You're going to get excited about that. You're going to drive into that contact list as quickly as possible with those people in other countries. Now, I hear a lot of people say, well, there's no point building international until you get to manager. That is the biggest mistake you could ever make. I hear it all the time. Well, yeah, when I'm a manager, I'll build a global business because I don't get paid on it until I'm a manager. Okay, think outside the box. Don't just think about the money. Think about the structure that a global business can bring you. Let's just say that I recruited Robert today and we went to work and Robert had 300 names on his UK list and he had 5 names on his international list. Because sometimes you might only get 5 or 10 or a dozen. Sometimes it's only 1. And occasionally it's nobody. But nowadays, I think in the multicultural society we live in, everybody knows somebody somewhere. Okay? Now, if I'm working with his international list with him, and I say to him, tell you what, we won't talk to those people until you're a manager, how would he feel if it took him 6, 7, 8 months to get to manager? He then contacted his best friend in Cape Town, and that person was already joined. How would he feel? Pretty ticked off. What I want to do is I want to help him in the UK as quickly as possible, but I want him to have a business coming up behind him or even overtaking him globally. So I don't worry about the money when we're recruiting abroad. What I'm looking about is finding someone that could catch the vision and go to manager as quickly as, or if not as quickly as, be the one that elevates him to manager. Why is that? Well, more so now than ever, because potentially he could straight away, when he gets to manager, with somebody who's gone to manager in another country, have a chairman's bonus structure. Now, here's the other thing. Let's just say that person doesn't get to manager in another country, but let's just say it gets to supervisor or assistant manager, or even let's just say they're doing 10 or 15 or 20 cases a month. The minute that Robert becomes a manager, he picks up on an international income immediately. Whereas if you wait until he becomes a manager and then he starts recruiting abroad, he could have another 4, 5, 6 months before he picks up on an international income. So what we're looking to do is we're looking to paint a bigger picture, a much, much bigger picture of the possibility of recruiting globally at the same time that we're working at home. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to open Robert's mind to the potential of what's on offer outside of the UK. Now, in the UK, I know there's people here from Ireland. You're a bit like the UK, but there's people here from Holland and Iceland and what have you. But in the UK, we're an island. We have an island mentality. We don't just zoom over boundaries. I do a lot of work with John in Europe, and we think nothing of being in Germany in the morning, Austria in the afternoon, then whizzing down to Italy, across to France. They think nothing of it. It's building a business without boundaries. But in the UK, we're a bit more limited in our thinking, so we have to structure and strategize in a slightly different way. So what we're looking for is potential on the global contact list. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that potential. Robert's brand new. He doesn't know how to identify it, but you do. I do. I know exactly what I'm looking for. So once we've done the who do you know list, what we're doing now is we're beginning to work the list in pretty much the same way as we would do if we were working locally. So put the local list to one side. That's a given. I'm working that. It's absolutely fantastic. We're seeing people, doing one-on-ones. We're getting people along to BPs. We're recruiting people. That's fine. But I also want to underpin it with this global business. And let's just say Robert's come up with, say, 10 names abroad. What I want to do is I want to sit with him and I want to go through each name individually, and I'm going to do a profile sheet on them. Because I want to know whether that person, based on what he tells me, is going to be worth the effort of really putting some time into. That's the one thing that I really want to identify. So, we could have a fantastic prospect in Cape Town. They could be in their mid-30s, married, 2 kids. You all know what profiling's about. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look in the international directory to find out if there is an office in that area, who runs it, what's going on. It's absolutely vital you have all this information to hand before you start the recruiting process. There is nothing worse than starting the conversation building process, and when they start asking you questions, you can't answer them. So you really need to be organised. Building internationally, you need to be a little bit more organised. And one of the things that we do is we always email the local office or call the local office. We start building a relationship with either the MD or the person in charge of international information within that office. I want details of the price of the products up front. I want details of their starter boxes up front. I want details of all of their local meetings and trainings up front. Every bit of information I can gather about that country I need it up front before I start the process of contacting that person, because you need to be prepared. If you're not prepared, then I promise you, you really are not going to make this thing run quickly. Another thing that's really good for those of you that are in teams, I mean, you've got maybe more than 1 or 2 or 3 managers in your team, is you need to come together for international sponsoring. So, for example, what we do in our team is we have a private QLS managers Facebook page. And on that private page, we work very much as a team. It's not just me and John or any of our leaders, it's all of us. So say, for example, if Chris and Alan have suddenly started doing business in Romania and they've made the contact with the head office, they've made the contact with the relevant meeting leaders, they've got all the information, they will create a document and upload it onto the Facebook page so all of our managers have got that information when maybe they have a prospect there. So we come together tightly as a team when we're doing international business building. And I'm not talking theory. Trust me, Bob was right. We have one of the biggest international businesses in the FLP world. So this stuff works, okay? But you need to be prepared. So come together as a team, build that database, know exactly what information you need. And as you begin to build internationally, those people can also feed into those documents. So you've always got the current, correct information at your fingertips. Really important that you do that. So once you're ready, once you're prepared and you've got the information, then between you and your new distributor, you agree and arrange the first contact. Now, when you're building internationally, the best way to make contact is either via Skype, via email, via a phone call, although I think Skype is probably the best way to speak to anybody. It's free, and anybody can access Skype. And it's a large part of the way that we build businesses internationally now, using the Skype program. And basically all we're doing is we're starting the process of communication. We're giving that person a call and we're asking them if there might be an interest in having a look at what we do. Now, again, there are 2 ways of approaching this. There may be that you have a prospect in a country that's well developed. And so therefore, what you're doing in a country that's well developed is you're sharing the huge potential of Forever. What's possible for them, you know, the excitement of what's already happening for Robert, why Robert thought of that person. You know, you've got to really craft together a good conversation or a good email or a good Skype call. But if you're in a country that is maybe not yet open, or on the brink of being opened, or in its infancy, then what you're potentially sharing there is ground floor, pioneer stage. And you share all the benefits of being in at the ground floor and being a pioneer, but equally, all the challenges as well. Because very often people love the thought of getting in right at the very beginning in a country. I mean, I'll give you an example. When Italy was opened, when we started working in Italy, it wasn't officially opened. And one of my best friends came to me. She said that she would love to do some work in Italy. And so we started working out there. And we took responsibility ourselves of shipping the product there for 6 months. For 6 months, we literally got the products from Forever Living, found our own transport company, paid for that product to be transported over, and we started building a little sort of network of people that were all using product. We started getting them excited about the fact that Forever Living will open. We're not quite certain when, but it will open. We knew it was going to be within 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So what we're doing is we're getting lots of people happy with the product, lots of people waiting for when Forever opened. And when Forever opened, literally overnight, we had supervisors, managers, people just popping positions quickly because we'd done that preparation. We'd done that preparation before it actually physically opened. So you've got your established country and you've got your country that may well be looking at opening. A lot of people right now are saying to me, what's happening in Egypt? What's happening in Egypt? You know what? Nothing at the moment because of its political instability. I keep talking to Aidan. I know the head office staff keep talking to Aidan. Everything's ready for when everything calms down there. So if anybody's got contacts in Egypt right now, nurture them, build them, get them ready, get them excited, get them on some of your trainings, get them on some of your webinars, get them ready for when it opens and there's the grand launch. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. But that needs to be part of your preparation, part of your strategy. Because if it isn't, then you'll miss the boat. And there are lots of other countries that over the next 2 or 3 years forever will open. And if you have an interest in them, make them part of your strategy. It's very, very important. So we've made contact with the new prospects, say in Cape Town, and what we've done is we've now created an interest. Our new potential distributor is really interested. They've had maybe a couple of good conversations with you. You've probably done an online presentation of some kind. You maybe have sent them an online DVD. You may have sent them to the Discover Forever website, which is absolutely fantastic to give people a bigger vision of what's happening around the world. But what you've got now is a prospect that is biting. They're looking as if they could do something with it. They're looking as if they're going to register with you. At this point, as you're beginning to give information, and they're biting, asking the right questions, you need to be ready now for registration. And you need to be ready to explain to them the process of how they register in that country. You need to be prepared to get a form to them really, really quickly. It's important you do that. Now, there's one thing that I will say to you, and I will just make sure that I haven't missed this bit, because I think it's really important. When you send someone along to a business presentation in another country, of course, it never really happens. I just want to prepare you for it. There is a potential for poaching. Okay? So here's what we do to prevent that as much as we can. Every single conversation is documented and recorded in our diaries. The time, the date. Every communication is backed up by an email, and they're all kept. When we get down to the position where we're inviting that prospect to a BP, I will email the local host. I will also email the MD. Because, trust me, if your guest goes along to a meeting without you, I tell you now they're going to get pounced on. And the people in the room are going to give them every reason why they should not join with somebody in another country. So any of you had this happen before? Yeah, a few of you. One of the wonders of the beauties of Forever, the magic of Forever, if you like, is that they really, really don't like poaching in any way, shape or form. And if you've got your emails documented, you've got your phone conversations documented, you've got your Skype calls and your history, if you've got your emails sent to the meeting leader, etc., and they do get poached, then you've got a fair chance of getting them back because they were your prospect. So please do remember to document everything. Don't just send someone along to a meeting and hope they're going to join because they love FLP, they love you, and you're not there. That won't happen. So remember, treat it be a little bit more focused on the way that you handle your prospects. So here we are at registration. They're going to join you. They are either going to start with a minimum order or they're going to buy the box. Now, I always, no matter which country that we're working in, whether it's the poorest country or the most developed country, our expectations on day one is that unless they tell me otherwise, they're going to buy the box. I always start with the box. Always. And sell the benefits of the box, why they need it, why it's the most efficient way to join Forever. Now, sometimes in the more economically challenged countries, what you'll find is they may say, I will go and save up for it. And that happens a lot. You know, we do a lot of work in Africa, and very often they'll say, okay, I need to go and work for it. And if they're motivated, I tell you, within 4 to 6, 8 weeks, they will come back and they'll have the money. But here's what you don't do. You don't say, great, come back to me when you've got the money. You actually start working with them while they're saving for the money. So you can start the first planning process. You can start them doing their list. You can start them doing some coaching and training with you online. Also, this is where you're going to get a feel as to whether they're serious or not, whether they're wasting your time or not. We sponsored a young man at the back end of last year in Uganda. Literally, all of it was done on Skype. Everything was done on Skype. He couldn't afford the box. He was in his last year of studying. And I said to him, Isaac, you need to save up for the box. This is how much it is. This is why you need it. And he said that he would work very hard. In the meantime, what we did, it was really interesting. I said, right, you need to do a list. And on Skype, I put up a picture of what the list looked like. I talked to him why he needed to do it. He had a good view of what he needed to do. And what was really interesting, when he saved up the money to get his box, we'd already got 3 people interested in joining his business. So, you know, he's not a star. Isaac is not a star, but he's doing a bit. Him and his little team do about 10, 15 cases a month. They now are in the trainings, they go to the meetings. I don't give a huge amount of time to them. I know they're never going to be humongous players, but we've given them a chance, we've given them an opportunity, and it all adds to the volume. So start the process of interacting with people maybe before they can even purchase their box. But if you've agreed a date for when they're going to purchase their box, and that date keeps getting moved and moved and moved, you need to think, what's going on here? However, they could have led you to 2 or 3 other good new people. So remember, it may not necessarily be the person that you are looking to recruit, but if they've led you to 3 or 4 other good people, then you can start working through them. Because you can create huge momentum by driving down into this list. So when I was working with Isaac, and these 3 people were really keen in joining, I said to him, come on Isaac, you need to hurry up, these guys are waiting to join. And I explained to him what he would earn when all 3 of them joined. Tell you something, he got the money a lot quicker than he said he was going to get it. It's amazing what happens when you attach a fear of loss and huge expectation to what you're doing. We use webinars a lot to do online training. And you can literally have people all over the world on your webinars. And you can create maybe a nice little 5-part program to put them into. The other night we were doing a webinar to about 90 people in the US, and we had Hawaii, we had Canada, we had New York, we had Denver, we had Charleston, all on the webinar. And in half an hour you can do some really good training, and they'll go back and work. And they either will or they won't. Don't get too attached to the fact they might not do it. You're looking for those that will. You know, don't say, oh, you know, they're not doing anything, it must be my fault. You've got to be a little bit tougher building internationally. You've got to be a little bit harder in the way that you handle the disappointments, I guess. You're not putting all this time into your international business before your UK business, remember that. Your UK business, your local business, Ireland, whatever, that has to be number 1 priority. But you are layering that with the international opportunity. Okay, so once we've got them registered, what are my expectations? You have to have some expectations, some guidelines in order to make people proactive. Well, I expect people to go to the trainings. I expect them to go to the local trainings. And because I'm in communication with the local training hosts, with the local area managers if they've got them, with the MDs, I know what the trainings are and I expect them to go. If they don't go to trainings once, maybe that's okay, there could be a genuine reason. If they don't go to trainings twice, then I'm interested as to why not. If they don't go to trainings 3 times, then I don't waste a lot of time with them. Okay, because you can't afford to. But you need to get them into trainings, local and online, as quickly as possible. That's my expectation. If they will not attend the trainings, I can't work with them. And I set expectations right up front. This is what I expect of you. I will work side by side, shoulder by shoulder. I will help you develop a business, but this is what I expect from you. I also want them to build a customer base. Now, every country is different in their retailing structure. Some countries cannot retail by law. They have to wholesale the products. Some countries can retail. Some countries are very poor, so the retail opportunity is more at the lower end, with maybe your tooth gels and deodorants and the cheaper products. But without any word of a doubt, around the world, the one product that does move really, really quickly is always the gel. Always the gel. So I do expect them over a period of time to develop that customer base. And I do want the names list off them as quickly as possible. And I ask them to email me their list. Because I can't work a list with them if I don't have it in front of me. Once I've got the list in front of me, with the comment bar filled in as to what their people do, then I'll go to work very, very quickly at helping them with that list. And I know that I'm talking to Pastor Jayne at the moment. I've been working with him, teaching him how to build some business internationally. And he brought his new guy to the Success Day just recently. And I said to him, if you want my input, this is what they have to do. And these guys came with their lists ready. They've got all of their lists for this other country ready. All of the comments filled in, all of the backgrounds, everything. Now what we can now do is put a plan together to get some of these people together to catch the vision of forever. It's so exciting. It's so exciting when you've got somebody in another country that will bring 4 or 5 of their friends to their computer and you can do an online presentation. And even if they've got no broadband, even if they can only hear you, as long as you're passionate and you're full of energy and full of excitement, they'll catch the vision. I promise you they'll catch the vision. John and I have done BPs in the weirdest, most bizarre places you'll ever imagine. We've done BPs in Malawi. They have no electric there at night time. Candlelight. In the gloom. You can't see anybody until they smile. Right? Right, Philo? But we're sitting there in the gloom. There's just a couple of candles, not too many candles. They can't afford them. And we're doing our presentation. You know what? They catch the vision anyway. I remember when John and I were travelling last year, actually with Philly and Robert, and we were on the banks of the Zambezi. And we were in a bit of a difficult situation because we wanted to leave our overland vehicles, but we were told it wasn't going to be safe. So we got some guards to come and look after our vehicles, and we went off for the day. And when we got back, there was about 8 or 9 guards there. So I said to the chief guard, come, I have something I want to talk to you about. He said, what's that? I said, do you want to make some more money? He said, yes. I said, right, bring all of your people back here in about half an hour and I'm going to share a business opportunity with you. And there I was on the banks of that Zambezi with all this circle of guys around me. Do you remember that? All of them hearing about forever. No presentation, no computer, no PowerPoint, just talking. So it's really important. Your voice can do a lot. You don't always need the fancy presentations because in the more developing countries, they can't upload them, but they can hear your voice. And if they can hear that, you'll get them. Follow-up is crucial. If you say you're going to follow up and you expect them to be there, then do not miss that date and time. It's about creating relationships as much as it is about developing a business. It's about developing a trust and a belief that goes beyond just the opportunity. They need to believe in you, you need to believe in them, and you need to really inspire them for that. You need to make them feel special. You need to make them feel as if they are someone, as if they have potential. Why do you need to do that more so than ever? Because you are not with them all the time. So there's a lot of constant reassurance that they can be, will be successful. And that's not difficult if you've got someone that's excited. It really isn't difficult. We had a guy join our team called William very recently in Cardiff. William comes from South Africa. We literally had one meeting around our kitchen table at home with him. We did his list. And there and then, on Skype, we called up 3 or 4 of his contacts. There and then on Skype. I'd already been in touch with Margaret at the head office in South Africa. There and then we called them up. And what was interesting, a week later, William went over to South Africa and within 4 days went supervisor. 4 days. Why? Because we'd done the preliminary work. It's all about doing the work, putting the groundwork in to get the growth. So you need to be ready for that. Okay. What about being proactive for your own contacts? It's very, very easy to work through your new distributors with their prospects. But what about being proactive for you? What about being the kind of manager that no matter where you are, who you're with, you will talk to anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere? Well, I have to tell you, this is probably one of my... I love it. We live in a very multicultural society here in the UK. Well, around the world, but specifically here in the UK. I mean, it is a very multicultural country now. And you've only got to go to any town and you will see all different religions, races, colours, creeds on the streets. It's great fun. But you have got to be proactive. You have got to know what your strategy is. Do you want to build in Africa? Do you want to build in Asia? Do you want to build in Europe, the Eastern Bloc? Where do you want to build a business? And what you need to do is you need to focus and develop that into your business plan. Where do you see potential that excites you? Because that's what it's all about. One of the things that I do, I use my business cards everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. I never miss an opportunity to speak to somebody. And my business card does have a message on the back. And I never give a business card unless someone will give me a phone number in exchange. Never. Ever, ever, ever. But I'll give you an idea. I mean, just recently, John and I were in London. We got talking to the most stunningly beautiful black lady, asked her where she was from. She said she was from Ethiopia. And I said, today's your lucky day. She said, why? I said, because you've met me. She said, why? I said, because I'm going to share with you an amazing opportunity that's going to change your life if you see what I see. I said, now, we're not open in Ethiopia yet, but I do know in the next 6 to 12 months our company are looking to open. And I'm looking for people right now who are interested in the health and wellness industry and who are interested in making some serious money. Would that be you? She said, absolutely. And my sister lives in Ethiopia. She's got her own beauty salon. Shall we talk to her as well? And that was purely just from interacting by saying, where are you from? So you get the number and you just keep in contact with them. You keep them updated. You send them some information. I'll keep you updated as to what's happening. If they're ready to join in the UK, get them joined in the UK. She doesn't want to join yet, but she's really excited about building a home. So I use my business cards all the time. I never, ever, ever miss an opportunity. I also use leaflets and flyers. And my leaflets and flyers are very specific. We've got flyers for the Asian market, flyers for the African markets. They're very specific and they work. Now, it's really, really easy to actually identify the amazing, wonderful, beautiful African people. Because if you're walking down the street and you see a big smiley black face, pretty much guaranteed they're from either Africa or the Caribbean. Right? So they're really easy to identify, right? You've got no excuse to walk by a big, happy, smiley black face. No excuse whatsoever. If you walk by them, shame on you. For two reasons. Firstly, you deny them an opportunity. And secondly, could be your next time a manager. I was in a car park about 18 months ago in East London. I literally parked the car, went to pay for the ticket, and who should walk towards me but the most beautiful black woman, and her hair was amazing. It had beads all over it. It was beautiful. And I just said to her, wow, you look amazing. Now, how often does anybody have anybody say that to them? And she stopped and she smiled. We got chatting. I actually couldn't chat to her for long. I was a warden about to give me a ticket. That was on the Friday. On the Sunday we spoke. On the Monday she was at the meeting. 3 months later she was a manager. All because I said, wow, I love your hair. Now listen, when you're not used to it, your heart beats a bit. You go a bit sweaty. You've got all great intentions. Your mouth dries up. Your tongue feels like a whale and they've gone by you. How many of you felt that? Yeah? How many of you? Listen, you've got to get over that because they are everywhere. People are everywhere and they need to hear from you. What's the worst they can say? No. What's the best they can say? Exactly. Doesn't matter about the outcome. What matters is you master the art of looking for people that might lead you to international business. You master that art. It doesn't happen by accident. It needs to become part of who you are and what you do. So we use our cards, we use our flyers. I actually go looking for networking events that might lead me to international markets. And there are so many international, there's so many events going on that are specifically for people from other countries. You can go to those events as a participant. You can go and ask if they need a speaker. You can go and ask if you can set a table up there. But basically, you can be part of all sorts of things going on. My son rang me last week. He said, Mum, guess where I am? Now, I'm not going to tell you because it's in London. And if I tell all the people in London now, you're going to know where it is and you're going to go there. But he said, I'm at... He said, you've got to get down here. He said, Mum, you've got to get down here. There are so many Africans here and nobody's heard of Forever Living. I said, right, get me the date. I'll be at the next one. I'm proactive. You've got to be proactive. Social media is brilliant, absolutely brilliant for developing relationships online. There are online groups now where you can be part of a chat room, you can be part of a debate group, you can be part of, you can write a blog entry for somebody. There are so many things that you can do that will get you noticed within other communities. But here's the thing, you do not sit at home on your computer doing online stuff during peak prospecting times when you could be out seeing people for your local business. This is what I do at night rather than watching TV. Or, because I can multitask, sometimes I might be watching something on TV and be doing this at the same time. But I do not do this to the extent where I'm not working with my local team. It's an add-on. It layers what I'm doing with my local business. But I guess to sum it all up, TTP just means talk to people. Talk to people, talk to people, talk to people, ask for referrals. If you speak to somebody and they say no, you ask for a referral. You say, thank you very much for being honest, but right now I'm looking for people in South Africa, in Kenya, in Hong Kong, in India, who might be interested in making an extra £40,000 to £50,000 a year. Do you know anybody? You'll rattle them. They will come back and say yes to you eventually, but ask the question. If you don't ask, you don't get. Remember, it's part of your strategy. If someone says no, don't just go, okay then, bye. That doesn't work. Get focused, get hungry. So, why did we make the decision 19 years ago to build a global business? You see, none of our business internationally has happened by accident. All of it has happened by design and by the coaching and the training that we impart upon our managers and leaders. We have very specific trainings that all the managers can use in the countries they want to build in. It didn't happen by accident. First of all, we wanted security. And I want you to think about a chair. I want you to think, you're all sitting on a chair right now, right? Would you be sitting comfortably on a chair if it only had one leg? No, you wouldn't. Well, that could be your local business. Just one leg. It could be a brilliant one-legged business, but it's one leg, one big business in the UK. Now, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. There's no security in that. So we made the decision many, many years ago that we would build 4 strong legs around the world. That was our first goal. Our first international goal was 4 legs. The biggest one always in the UK, the one that we spend most of our time with in the UK. But we went looking for people in 3 other countries that we could build stability. Because if you've got a 2-legged chair, it will fall over. If you've got a 3-legged chair, it's not so bad, but a 4-legged chair will never go anywhere. And it's complete security. You know, if there's a challenge with one business in one country, never mind, you've got your other country to pick you up. We wanted to develop multiple income streams because that's what Forever offers. They offer you multiple income streams. Why would you not take advantage of that? Why would you not incorporate that into your strategy? We wanted to develop global leaders. It was very important to us. John and I had a goal that we wanted 4 of the top distributors in our team from around the world at some stage. That was one of our goals. We wanted that to happen. So we wanted global leaders. We wanted to know that we'd reached out and made a difference in the lives of others. We wanted to know that we could do it remotely as well as on our home shores. It was for our own personal development as well. You've got to stretch yourself, guys. You've got to get out your comfort zone. Dreams become reality when you step out of the comfort zone into your adventure zone. Let me tell you, building globally will stretch you. It will have you on the greatest heights ever. It will also have you feeling suicidal at times. There are many times I've quit Forever Living, walked away, and 20 minutes later said that wasn't such a good idea and come back again. Because of the frustrations that happen when you're building internationally. But the joy is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The joy of building internationally is more magical than locally in the respect that you you don't see that person all the time. So if you see them 1 month, then it could be 6 months before you actually physically see them again. And you see who they've become in that 6 months. And the people in their teams, let me tell you, it's liberating. It's humbling. I get emotional. I get totally emotional. We did a Skype call the other morning to the Success Day in Cape Town. And I know that some of Adam's team were there as well. But it was really interesting because the minute we came on camera, and they had a pretty good internet connection, we had 8-9 minutes of nothing but the South African dancing and singing. And it was so humbling, it was so emotional, because they were welcoming us onto their screen. And it was as if we were there with them. So it is completely amazing, but it's part of your personal development. Stretch yourself. Where can you take yourself? Who can I become? Who can I impact upon? Also, obviously, case credits. Case credits. Let's not just think 1,500. Let's think 2.5. Let's not limit ourselves by thinking 2.5. Let's think 5,000. 5,000? That's neither halfway to the top or the bottom. What about 7.5? And what now about being an Eagle Summit member? You know, I'm terrible. I cannot not be achieving. It's hard for John to live with at times. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, I've got a good idea. It's very rude on a Sunday morning. His idea clearly wasn't the same as mine. But why stay at 7.5 when you can be at 10,000? We're that close to 12.5, and trust me, we're working our butt off for it. I will not be average. But you need this in your plan. Where can your international business, brought together with your local business, take you? CCs, you need to get focused on rising them all the time. Do not limit yourself by saying, yippee, I've just qualified for the Super Rally. And? Sorry, Global Rally. And? I see people limit themselves all the time. They think just because they've qualified, they can sit back and do nothing because they've hit that position. You hit positions on the way through to other positions. That's the key. And the one thing I will say about the Eagle Manager position, and I've noticed this a lot with Eagle Manager, I've seen a lot of Eagle Managers getting excited, coming through the process, really, really excited about achieving. And I've seen Eagle Managers achieve all the qualification by August. Do you know what I see then? I see their business flatline. How many of you seen that? It flatlines because they've seen that achievement as being the end stop, rather than seeing that achievement as being part of the process. So what about doing Eagle Manager yourself, but having an Eagle Manager in another country? Think bigger. Think outside the box. If you can think it, you can achieve it, but only if you do it. If you think it, you can achieve it, but only if you're prepared to do it. And we also wanted to contribute to others. We wanted to contribute to others in countries where they were not so fortunate as us in the UK. We wanted to help people in countries where they were living on maybe $10, $15, $20 a day. We've changed the lives of people in other countries. We've got a guy in our business in Malawi. Malawi isn't even open. We have to ship products from South Africa. And I remember John and I going to a meeting in Malawi once. I'm getting flashed up. I'll be off in 2 seconds. Well, maybe 1 minute. We went to Malawi, and Peter was so excited at the business presentation because he had a fridge. He had a fridge from Forever Living. No electric, but he had a fridge. You have no idea how much it means when you come from contribution in genuinely wanting to help people around the world. It isn't always about your gain. Your gain will come if you help enough other people get what they want. So what's been the results for us of building a global business? Well, we have incomes now from over 51 countries. Now, let me tell you, some of the incomes from some of the countries would just about buy a pint. Maybe $5 or $10 a month. Some of them are thousands and thousands and thousands a month. Some of them are more money than people are earning in their full-time businesses in the UK or Ireland or the Benelux. Why? Because we had that vision to work with them when we first started out, and over time, they have grown. We've now got 4 diamond managers in the team, and guess what? Not one of them is in the UK, they're all in other countries. We've got the top African distributor in our team, in Nigeria, in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Zambia, in one of the top ones in Kenya. Isn't that incredible? And I have to say a huge well done to quite a lot of the African guys here, because a lot of that business has come from working with you guys and helping you develop. So well done for that. But the top 10 distributors, some of the top 10 distributors in East Africa, South Africa, Italy, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Zambia, UK are all in the team. Did that happen by accident? No. It's been a lot of years of hard work, a lot of years of hard work. Was it worth it? Yes. It was absolutely worth it. Did it detract me from what we do at home? No. Has it positioned us well for the new global travel and chairman's bonus? Absolutely. But going forward over the next 3 to 5 years, each and every one of you in this room can build a structure that's going to allow you to have more case credits, develop chairman's bonus legs in other countries, to develop Eagle Manager legs in other countries, and give you the total security that you and your families are looking for. This is all underpinned by 3 things. A phenomenal attitude. You have to have a phenomenal attitude. Never ever is it too much trouble, too hard. It's always a great attitude. You have to have a big desire. A desire not only to be someone, but to reach out and help someone. And you also have to have an amazing work ethic. And I mean an amazing work ethic. If you put those 3 things together, then success is pretty much guaranteed. So, the future belongs to those who believe in their dreams in the long run. It's up to us to shape our own lives, and then together we can shape the world around us. The process never ends until we die, and the choices, which is what I opened the Managers Retreat with, the choices we make are ultimately our responsibility. So choose wisely, boldly, and confidently. Believe that your choices will make a difference, because I promise you they do and they will. Here's to you all and the excellence that you're going to create in building your business. I won't wish any of you good luck, but I will wish you all great success. Thank you very much.